And the following is a paid program. Advice and opinions expressed on the program are solely that of Melick Law, not necessarily WBEV or Good Karma Brands. Welcome in, everybody, to what would normally be me sitting down on taking care of business with Rob Melick, but he decided to take the day off, or maybe a couple days off, or maybe, I don't know what he does with his free time, honestly. But instead, he sent in three of his lovely team here, and that's going to be Emery, Shannon, and Stacy. And you guys work there at Melick Law.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I guess the first question for the day is, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good.
I heard you guys were prepping and doing some stuff this morning, Washington County Fair related.
Yes.
Yep, we were doing all of our setup we're there the rest of the week, starting tomorrow. So we were just setting up our booth, getting everything ready for Rob to take over.
That's awesome. Now, I'm assuming that you're doing the setup because Rob's got more important things to do. So those big heavy air quotes out there.
Well, he was out on vacation the last week or so. So now that he's back, get him, appointments, since we're now going to be at the fair. That eats into that kind of time. So getting him out to be able to meet with his clients today took that load off of him. So then we decided we'll go set up and get everything ready. So
Now, you guys going to be spending some time out there as well?
Yes.
we all have our different days. So
And is there going to be any fun time out there, or is it all work?
Rob lets us have our fun time. So
fun and play.
And there's pickle pizza
yes.
that I get to try this year.
Pickle pizza.
Yep.
I like pickles. I like pizza.
So I feel like it can't be bad.
See, you say that.
It was not bad. It was my staple last year when
Was
I was
it?
at the fair.
Okay. Good to know. Any other staples you guys are checking out at the fair? Any other fair food you guys are into? That's me. It's the fair food.
Oh, the cheese curds. They're the best. in my
Classic.
opinion.
There's a French fry, house hut thing that just sells different types of French fries. That's my place. I go every year.
Can't go wrong there. I'm a big fan of any time they put a meat and a stick together.
Yes.
You can't go wrong with that. I'd like to dive a little bit more into what Melick Law kind of does and what you guys do there. But before we do, I'd like to get a little bit of background on you guys. Because we know everything there is to know about Rob at this point, because he's pretty much an open book on the show. But I'd like to know a little bit more about what you guys do, what you bring to the team, how you guys got started with the team. Whoever wants to go first, I guess you guys can choose.
I'll let
Emery's the
start.
newest.
Looks like you're on first. Emery, go ahead.
I started in February, and I'm taking a little break from school right now, and I want to be an attorney, and so I applied. And then I started working here, and Rob hired me, and
We liked her the best.
Okay. Now, where are you going to school at?
I was going to Marquette.
Marquette, okay. And you were like, I want to be a lawyer. And out of all the possible types of things you could do, you've probably seen all the Law and Orders and all that other stuff. You were like, estate planning. Let's go look into that.
Yeah, and now I've learned so much that I didn't even know anything about before, or how important it actually is. And I feel like that's the coolest part of this, is that I've learned so much.
Okay, I like it. Who's up next?
I can be, I guess.
All right,
Just go down the road. Why not?
How long have I been there now? I started last February with Rob.
Last April.
April. Don't know where I got February from.
Emery started in February.
Right. So last April. But I have been a paralegal for 6 years now. I was general practice before this because, like Emery, I wanted to be an attorney, and then I started in the field and decided I never want to be an attorney. A paralegal is good enough for me. So I started in general practice while I was still getting my paralegal degree. And so I got a little taste of everything, decided I don't like most different categories of law. I was doing a lot of criminal work, which not great. It's not a good time. And I found Rob. I did a little bit of estate planning at my old firm, nothing like this though. And estate planning's been a nice weight off my shoulders. It's a much more calm field. And I am Rob's estate planning paralegal now, so that's how I got here.
Very nice. And I guess that leaves just you, Stacy. What do you got for us?
So I've been with Rob now for the last 4 years. I started with him in June of 21. Met him actually through our old firm, so we've been working on and off for about the last 11 years now together. But when I was at the old firm, I did primarily divorce, family law, stuff like that. Rob ended up leaving to start Melick Law. He left me behind. it's a little sour, but no. Then after a few years later, he came back and asked me to join, and I needed a change just in general because family law is not exciting to be in. A bunch of people arguing all the time, know. Knew obviously what Rob did, knew it would be a better fit for me, took that leap, and now here I've been since. So,
well, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, normally under these circumstances, I'd try and get you guys to dish a little dirt on Rob, but every time I hear, you guys were on last time, I was told, it was nothing but praise, and that he's such a great guy, and so I won't ask for any dirt, but I will do want to ask.
Dirt.
Oh, do you?
We always
I
have
have dirt as of this morning.
Rob, oh boy. Is it radio friendly? Can we share?
Yes, it's radio friendly. It's about the fair.
Oh, what's going on?
So every year we get, Rob buys us these jumbo bags of candy for the fair for like people walking by, the
Right.
kids and everything. And I had one request. I was like, Rob, don't forget Whoppers this year. I love Whoppers. I ate all of the Whoppers there were last year. He got us 3 bags of candy.
No Whoppers?
No Whoppers.
Rob, you had one job, man.
Yeah, that's my only dirt.
If you're out there
Otherwise,
listening.
Rob's too great.
I mean, and he's great on the show, which we love having him on. He talks about a lot of really important stuff, and a lot of stuff that when people think about attorneys and think about law, it's not the first thing or even the second thing, maybe even the third thing people think about.
Right.
When you guys kind of touch on a little bit, criminal law is one thing, family law when it comes to like divorces and things is another. That's kind of where people's mindset goes, and they think about the highly televised mindset of what law is. Now, you guys are of varying ages across the board here, but I'm guessing fairly similar from looking at you guys. Take that as a compliment, by the way. You don't think the same as me. But I'm sure you've all seen the different TV shows and things that are out there about law. Is that what made you guys decide that that's where you wanted to go, or what made you guys say, let's do legal stuff?
So I was struggling before I found my career path. I started at Concordia, and I was actually going to be a radiologist.
Okay.
Failed anatomy. Well, according to their standards, failed anatomy. Decided
What
not.
is there to know? The head?
I mean, I was like, I'm not going to retake another course. I'm like, not going to be for me kind of thing. So my now husband and I were watching King of Queens.
Okay,
And
great show.
Carrie became a paralegal. And one day he's just like, well, could you do that? And I went, you know what? I could do that. So I started looking into schools and got myself into the paralegal program, and here I am today. It was because of King of Queens.
Now, have you written a letter to the stars of the show?
I have
"Dear
not.
Kevin James,
That
thanks
would
to
be a
your
good
writing
idea,
staff."
but I never did. No.
That's awesome. It's an interesting path and vastly different from radiology.
Very much so.
Okay.
Funnily enough, the first time I went to college was also for the same thing.
Oh.
But there was an entrance exam after I got all my gen eds done, an entrance exam to actually enter the program, and I failed like one portion of that. And instead of, because I know myself, I had to wait another year to take the exam again, and I said, well, if I'm not going to school between now and a year from now, I'm not going to go back. So I was just going through their course list, and I was like, I've never heard of a paralegal before. Let's try that one.
Awesome.
And it worked out.
I like it.
So.
I like it. No King of Queens reference though, but that's okay. That's
no.
okay. And then, how much for you, Emery?
For me, I feel like because this is like something I want to go into, like, and become an attorney, I was like, I need to find work somewhere where I get that like feel, and then to know if I want to do it. And so far, I've really enjoyed it. So that's how I feel.
No radiology path.
No.
No. Okay. Obviously, when it comes to the types of law that are out there, one of the things Rob always says, and sometimes I feel like maybe he's playing up how much he likes it, maybe he's not, but he talks about, his friends who work in criminal law and they're prosecutors, they're defense attorneys, whatever, who went to school with him, and then he thinks about what he does, and he goes, this is so stress-free for the most part. It's so simple. It's important, it's very needed, but, he doesn't have to spend all day yelling at somebody or trying to prove somebody's guilt or anything like that. Do you guys feel like this is an avenue of law that is maybe a little more stress-free for you guys?
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, it definitely has its times. Like, not every client comes in with, I just am looking to get something done, it's been, on my mind, or that we do have cases where we get called and say, hey, mom's in hospice or dad's in hospice. We need something now. Those situations get a little more stressful because it's a lot more work for us to make sure we're getting those documents done on time, meet with the person before the inevitable happens. But other than that, for the most part, day-to-day stuff, yeah, I'd have to say it's very low-key, just very relaxing, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice not having to go home super stressed about,
Yeah.
the court case tomorrow and
Right.
closing arguments and all that sort of stuff.
Having previously done criminal law, I can say, yeah, it's a lot different of an environment. No, Rob is not a very stressed out, high-strung person. He doesn't yell at us like a lot of
Right.
attorneys do with more high-stress paths. But yeah, I would say maybe Stacy does all the probate work. She's the probate paralegal, and hers is probably the most stressful.
I'd have to agree with that, yeah, because unfortunately I'm dealing with the people who didn't have anything in place and the ramifications of now having to go through the court systems and waiting and, well, why can't I have my money yet? Well, because it's not technically yours yet.
Right.
So, I mean, that definitely, there are days I have a higher stress day than Shannon or Emery, but all in all, it's definitely not when I was working in divorce. I would take a day in probate over a day in divorce any day.
Well, and one thing that Rob has said so many times in the show is that what he tries to do is create these estate plans that are guaranteed to avoid probate.
Absolutely.
And so he said last time he was on the show, he's like, I still get probate cases that come in, that are people who didn't go through
Right.
the process. So it still happens. But hopefully, if his work keeps going as well, you'll have less and less of that.
That's the ultimate goal. I want to be called on less and less as time goes on, but sometimes companies, they don't work properly either. So I mean, there's always going to be a need, unfortunately, I think, for me, but hopefully with what Rob does, it's going to be less, because everything I know that Rob has drafted, I don't see those clients again. If I see another client, it's either a mother or a father of our previous client, or it's someone that just found us in the phone book or on a radio show or something like that said, oh, well, now I'm stuck in this situation. But I will say, out of the 4 years being with Rob, I very seldomly see one of ours come back. And if it is, it's because the client didn't follow our instructions either. Like, we provide that roadmap for you so that you don't have to. We're giving you everything you need at that final appointment. So.
Now, if anybody wants to learn more about these roadmaps or get more information about what Rob Melick provides, we should probably get some phone numbers and some information out there. I have a phone number, 262-347-3444. You guys have a couple of office locations now, right?
Correct.
You want to share those?
I'll let one of them.
You've been
So we
quiet.
have offices, in our main office is Saukville, and then Germantown, Beaver Dam, and West Bend.
Awesome. Now, do each of you staff one of the offices, or do you guys rotate, or how does that
Our
work?
main office is in West Bend, or not West Bend, I'm sorry, Saukville, where we are all at. Beaver Dam, we come out by appointments. Typically, Mondays after the radio shows are great days for us to be out here, because we tend to try to keep them out here since,
Right.
why not? But then West Bend and Germantown, we staff by appointment as well. Just, they're basic rooms that we just
Right.
meet with people, so there's no one ever really there on site.
It's usually just Rob, or I live right by Germantown, so if there's an appointment there and he needs me, I just
Swing
hop
right in.
right over. Yeah.
I like it. You had touched on something a little bit, because you had mentioned, working with divorce attorneys and in that field of law. There can be a lot of feelings, emotions, times where you have to be sensitive.
Right.
Well, with what you guys are doing now, obviously, same thing. You're talking about, end of life planning. You're talking about estate planning. There can be a lot of high emotions, a lot of feelings. How do you guys deal with that? How do you guys have to deal in those sensitive moments, or do you guys kind of get to step away from that?
Thankfully, for the most part, I mean, we've had moments, yes, especially again with being in the probate. I deal with a lot more emotions in that than probably Shannon or Emery. But I do know, there are times where we'll get that call, and Emery is our main contact, or main first person on the phones, and she'll get that call where, unfortunately someone passed away. we're getting that phone call, and yeah, there's emotions involved in that. So we have to do our best to keep them, under control, again, for lack of a better word, but as well as still being able to figure out how we can help them. Because a lot of times it is just a phone call, what do I do next? And then just explaining to them, like, you need this, that, the other thing first, just give yourself that time to grieve, then come call us back. Because I am actually surprised at how many people we are their first call after someone passes away.
We've gotten like a couple hours after the fact, and it's like, take your time, you're okay, don't bother with us, don't think about us, take, think about yourself, take your own time, and then we can get back to you after you've had that time.
We'll be here when you're ready.
Now, you've only been here since February, so you've been fielding these calls for only a few months now.
Yeah.
Has it had any effect on your views of like law and what you want to do, or has it strengthened your views?
I'd say it's like strengthened. I think like seeing like how we've like helped people, and like the like impact of that has like made like when those type of calls come through like a lot easier, because then you can see like all the cases, like all the clients that like had like were so successful, and like it all works out, and that like feels good to like relieve their stress from that.
I imagine it's got to be kind of nice too, knowing that if they came in, they followed the roadmap, they followed the plan, all the hard work you guys have put in, that Ron puts in to make sure everything is where it needs to be, that it kind of just automatically works for them, right? And they don't have to stress or freak out because you've already figured out everything for them, all the contingencies that could possibly happen, and it makes it nice and easy.
Correct. Yep. And then, afterwards, too, there are always the questions of, do I need to revise anything? And most of the time, no. It's depends on if you still want what you have in the document. But no, if a spouse passes away, you just become that. You become that sole trustee or the sole personal, rep or whatever at that point it is. But even those calls, I think it makes our clients feel better knowing they can get a hold of one of us three or Rob, or even if we're not available, and we're able to tell them, you're okay. It will be okay. Just we've got you. So it's been nice the last 4 years just being able, like Emery said, to see that and see how we've been able to help each and every client in their own individual capacity.
Now, I'm going to ask you all the same question, and you guys can choose who wants to go first. But has there been any moments working in this particular segment of law that has just been a real eye-opener for you? That maybe was something you didn't expect or something you didn't know that, has either changed your view on law or changed your view on what you want to do or how you're doing your career? That, you don't have to go into specifics, but
Well, I guess I have a specific, that made it kind of what opened my eyes to what we do, especially. It was shortly after starting with Rob. We had a phone call basically that someone was in hospice. We dropped everything, got all the paperwork done, had that person sign, and they passed away 2 days later. It was at that moment for me where I was like, if we hadn't been able to do that, what is the family going to go through now? Because they had nothing in place. So the fact is we were able to get that all done for them, and knowing now that their family is safe and secured, I guess, for, again, lack of better words, but knowing that they're taken care of at this point. They don't have to worry about that probate process or anything like that because Rob was able to get it done. And I think that moment in time was just like, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, for that reason alone.
Yeah, I would say mine that really solidified me loving the estate planning, I don't know what to call it, category of law? Field.
Sure.
That really solidified me enjoying estate planning most would be those comments we get. I usually finish off the estate plans with people. As the comments we get after we're done signing and going over everything, people usually always say, oh, it's a big weight off of my shoulders. I'm so glad I finally had this done. Now my kids don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to put them through any of that because most of the time they experienced it and they don't want to put that on their kids. So I would say it's really that, and just hearing that pretty much every day, like, oh, you guys have been so great to me.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would say, like what Shannon said, like I like more like do the phones and stuff, so I feel like hearing people like tell us that like, oh yeah, like now I'm not stressed out anymore, or like I've like got this plan in place, and now like I don't have to worry or think it's going to go on somebody else's stress.
Awesome. I do have more questions to ask. Before I do, I want to remind everybody this is a paid program, and the advice and opinions expressed on the program are solely that of Melick Law, not necessarily WBEV or Good Karma Brands. For people out there who don't fully understand the difference and the workload that falls on either side of things, what responsibilities of the office fall under the paralegal primarily, and then what responsibilities of the office fall under the attorney that's on hand?
So paralegals in general, we're not allowed to give legal advice. So like any of our initial consults, meetings, and that are typically done with Rob because he can listen to the stories, explain to them how, you know, he would take action to get it, but that's something us three can't do. We can re-explain as something that Rob's explained to them. We can draft the documents, but we can't appear before a judge. We can't do any of that. So a lot of it, Rob needs to review our work. He needs to be the one who is actually, you know, putting that seal of approval on it. But as far as anything, as I like to say, we're just the, and again, it's not just but we're just the minions. So,
Or in a less rude way to us. Or it's kind of like doctors and nurses.
Right.
Right. Like a nurse can't diagnose you officially. It has to go all through the doctor. So yeah, Rob does all of the intro meetings, gives them all the price quotes, stuff like that. But for example, sometimes he'll have me get back in touch with them or meet up with them after he's done that to do intakes with them and get all their information. Since I'm going to be the one drafting, it's just easier for me a lot of time to have my own notes, read my own notes.
Right. Now, reading your own notes, how's his penmanship?
awful.
It's bad.
So it
but
really is like a doctor.
It's worse than a doctor.
I've seen worse. I've seen worse, but he gets a lot of texts where I'll take a picture of the notes and be like, translate?
And it's funny because some like Stacy will know it sometimes before Rob like has a chance to respond, and she'll be like, "Oh, just so you know, this is like apparently."
Yeah,
It's
or
so funny.
even
I've had 11 years, guys, of reading his handwriting.
I'll also get texts back sometimes where he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, those are the
Right,
fun
great.
texts.
That'd be me. My handwriting is horrible too. And our morning show host Wade Bates has the worst handwriting in the building. Like if you see my notes here, they're mostly just scribbles.
That's better than Rob's.
Suck it, Rob. Just saying. Awesome. So that's a good answer. I appreciate that. Now, when I think about Rob, you know, he's gotten the multiple locations, but this isn't a big conglomerate law office for him, obviously. This is a smaller office. It's got more of a hometown feel, a lot of personal touch. Give me the pros and cons. Like, how does that feel for you guys? How does that work for him? Like, do you feel better? Do you feel worse? Are there things that are great about it? Are there things that maybe could be better?
So I came from a law firm that had 4 attorneys and 2 paralegals at that time. Now I know they've expanded way more. I'm happy for them, all that. But yeah, so at that point, that was overwhelming for me just to have more than one attorney. So now with working with Rob and him being the sole attorney, it's a lot nicer because it's a lot more relaxed in the sense that I only have to report to one person. I only have to really make sure one person knows what's going on with this client, or what's going on for the week. And then to have Shannon and Emery basically be there, you know, as a backup to if I'm not around or something, you know, to keep on Rob for reminders and stuff. It's just, it's so nice to have them here and knowing they've got my back and I've got their back, because you don't get that in every firm. So to have the smaller firm, I can't picture us being anything bigger, but I know at the same time, it could happen. I don't know what Rob's plans are for the future.
Right.
It's his business. He can do what he feels he needs to do. But at this point, I think, you know, with what we've got, it works.
Yeah, I do really like the small. I mean, I came from a small firm, but it wasn't anything like Rob's firm. Rob has done such a good job just running his business and with his employees having personal relationships with us, like we actually are able to talk to him like openly about anything. I'm not just sucking up. Rob is just such a genuinely good person. And so it's like when we have issues, anything comes up, he's so understanding about it. And since, you know, we have other people in case, like I messed up my car, have to go take it, and I'm going to be carless for the rest of the week. But I'm not worried about it because Rob understands.
Right.
So we have other people to pick up my slack, for lack of a better term.
I feel that one. I say just going person. She went personal. I've been dealing with a lot of family issues. My dad's been in the hospital for the last 71 days. Yeah, it's been long, but there have been times where I've called Rob up the night before going, I won't be in tomorrow. I've got to go to the hospital, or this is happening. And he goes, do what you need to do. I text Shannon and Emery, let them know what's going on. I know they've got my back. Like, I know for a fact that I can be gone a day, 2 days, whatever, and things are taken care of.
Yeah.
Melick Law, to me, is more of a family. We work so well together, and even when we brought Emery in, it was a huge talk about how is that personality going to fit with the rest of us, because we are small and we do work so close together.
Versus, you know, if he was a big office, you're just another person. Like, it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
It must feel kind of special for you to know you're being brought in on this.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it makes me feel like so honored, and I feel like they have made me feel like right at home and like totally part of the family, like right off the bat. So, which is so nice, and like not other jobs, sometimes that's not like the case. Like, yeah, so I really appreciate that.
That's really cool. Now, you're okay from your car problems, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not okay.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm just, I'm dumb. That's it.
We've all been there. We've all been there. Some of us more times than we'd like to count. Now, you touched on something, and I don't want to dig too deep into, but you talk a little bit about your personal stuff with family. Has doing this job led to you guys like talking to your family and being like, you need to have this done, or have you guys?
100%. I've told my parents straight up, if you don't put this in place, I know I do this for a job, but I am not going to help. Like, not in a rude way either. It's just, I know what it's like.
lot.
It's my job. I'm telling you right now, I do this for a job right now. You can get it taken care of. I don't want to deal with the consequences.
Especially being the probate paralegal, I told my parents, I think I was working with Rob not even a year, and I said, do you have anything in place? My mom goes, yeah, we do, but you still have a guardian over you. I'm like, Mom, I'm 25. I don't need a guardian at this point. Obviously, it's a moot clause, but let's get you back in and get this reworked. I'm like, I'm old enough now. My brother's old enough now. We can take care of the estate if needed. So that's what they did. They came in, talked to Rob. My mom also has a bunch of medical things, so we discussed some other stuff to help with that. And Rob led, I know for a fact at this point, my parents are set up. So if anything would happen, we're set. Like, everything will transfer the way it needs to. And because I do what I do for a living, I am in charge of everything currently. So I do now more understand that aspect of like what to do, which I think in a way though now has helped me become a better paralegal for my clients, because now I understand what a power of attorney actually does, what is going on, because I am my dad's power of attorney at this point because we had that all switched. Revisions, thankfully Rob does for free, so I called him up and said, hey Rob, I know I'm at work, but I need my dad's powers of attorney redone. We want to get my mom off and put me on. No charge, did it for me. We got him to the hospital, and now thankfully everything's I'm getting updates and stuff that I should have been getting, but because my mom was the power of attorney, I wasn't. So It's crazy to see how these documents that we create for people are actually how they work, and they actually do work.
And obviously, again, only been there since February, but you've gotten to see a lot of the ins and outs of it. Have you had those conversations with, or have you started planning your own?
I definitely thought about it for myself, and I was like, oh, going on vacations and stuff, and that type of where I was like, oh, I'm I was like, oh, I'm young, I don't need to worry about that. And then I like started thinking about it, and I was like, well, you never know what can happen, and like how important it actually is to have it all in place.
I know working, with Rob, I haven't gone in myself yet, which my wife's listening. She's probably yelling at me because we still haven't gone in. But it's always a conversation when the show gets over. I'm like, yeah, I know, Rob, I got to get in and see you. And he's like, you definitely should. We offer discounts for, viewers and listeners of WBEV. And I was like, and that includes me. He's like, well, obviously you were listening and you were watching, so stop on in. And, we talk about, like I've gone and talked to my parents. And they're like, oh, yeah, we have some stuff written up. It's in the safe. And I'm like, oh, you guys had some official documents? Like, well, we have a letter we wrote, and, we had somebody notarize it. And
Yeah.
I was like, cool. I just learned that doesn't mean jack. Like, it's worthless. It feels comforting to know it's in your safe and that you guys took some time to scribble down some things. But
I mean, in their defense, it's not going to be their problem.
that's right. It's going to be, yeah. Thanks for reminding me of that one. Hopefully they choose my older sister. Probably not. And I think their document still has on there, like, oh, in case we pass, like, here's who's responsible for our children. I'm 42. Well, going to be 42 this year. So, yeah, no, I'm fine. I don't need a guardian.
That's how I felt.
Yeah, similar situation. I want to touch on this a little bit because this is a really important thing that you kind of mentioned, which is that power of attorney thing. And you kind of went over it quickly, but the concept of, you have a loved one who's, in a health scare, is, in the hospital, been there for a while. And if you're getting no information whatsoever, that can be very stressful. It can be scary. It can be heart-wrenching when you don't know what's going on. And, of course, legally, they can't tell you anything, right?
Right.
Like, you could try and, I love the media because the media always says, well, no, if you just cry to the right doctor, that bleeding heart doctor is going to be like, okay, come over here, here's what's going on. No, they won't because they can't risk their practice, their license, all of that. So they can't tell you anything. But that power of attorney the word power is important because it is so powerful. And obviously you guys can't give legal advice, but can you explain kind of what that power of attorney really does for you?
It puts you in that person's shoes should they need you. For a financial, at least, there's two different types, springing and then immediate. All the ones we draft are immediate. Springing basically means you have to be deemed incompetent, like a healthcare power of attorney.
Right.
But what happens if that person's just under that threshold? Well, what do you guys do? Well, they're not incompetent, but they can't make those decisions.
Right.
So you're able to do that for that person. Healthcare, obviously, your hands are tied. Until that person's deemed incompetent, you can't make those decisions. Now, as I found out, apparently if they are being sedated and under, because of this, that, or the other thing, you're going to be called on to make those decisions. They're deemed at that point incapacitated. So even though nothing's wrong with him, they still need someone to make those because he's clearly not able to.
Right.
So it basically just gives you those rights to act as if you were that person. And, I mean, as scary as that could be for some people don't like the idea they're giving up that control per se. It should be in more so looking at it as a positive of, I have my back covered in case something happens. So we see it both ways from clients and how they feel about the documents, but in the end, like you said, they're powers of attorney. They're powerful. You need to have them. If you're over 18, you're an adult.
I think what a lot of people don't realize as well is even if you're married, you still need them. I just had not even an argument, but a harsh discussion. I'm getting married next month, and I was
Congrats.
Thank you. I was telling my fiance like, hey, we just took a cross country road trip, and I was like, we should get this in place in case anything happens to you. He's like, well, why don't we wait? It won't matter. Yes, it does. This is my job. Trust me. I told him, like, even if we're married, anything happens to you, I'm going to be left in the dark. Unless you, before something goes wrong, can tell your doctor magically that it's okay that you guys talk to me, I'm going to be left in the dark, and you're just going to be sitting there.
Yeah, that's very scary, and it's a good point. I had a family member in the recent, this year, actually. There was one of them was in a very, very unfortunate car accident. The other one was not with them at the time. and they were like, we don't know who to notify, we don't know who to reach out to, is this individual with anybody? And it wasn't until they had a moment of kind of cognizance that they could be like, please call this person, let them know what's going on, and verbally give those instructions. Otherwise, they'd have been in the dark until, unfortunately it was too late.
Right.
Yeah, it can be a really scary moment. What would you guys say has been, and I'll direct this to all of you, but obviously some of you have been doing this a little bit longer, but what would you say has been the biggest misconception people have had when they first come in and you guys sit in on those consultations and, people spew the knowledge that they've learned from TV, TikTok, social media, family, whatever?
People always think wills are good enough. And I don't know, I think a lot of people get that misconception from other attorneys. Not necessarily misconception, but a lot of different attorneys will push wills on people. Again, I don't know why. I don't ask every other attorney, but I know at least from some of them, it's cheaper up front to do wills. But then they expect you to come back then after you're passed away, and then they get that however much
Whatever they
thousands of
earn.
dollars from the probate case.
Right.
And that would probably be my main experience too, is that is the biggest misconception. Besides the husband-wife power of attorney, the biggest conception is that a will is good enough. And it's not. It's not. And that's why, unfortunately, I am part of Melick Law, because wills are not good enough. I've had plenty of clients that brought in, well, they had a will.
Doesn't matter.
Well, did they have any beneficiaries on their checking, savings, home, etc.? No. Well, now it's not good enough. Like, there are ways, yes, a will could help. And I know with Rob, especially when he sits down and has that initial consult and kind of asks you, what are you looking to do? And maybe he realizes they don't own a home, or they, have a very small estate. A will could very well work.
Right.
But that's not the case all the time, nor is it the case probably 98% of the time. So I think I would agree with Shannon. That is the biggest misconception of estate planning, that a will is good enough.
Or another big one we see are people with kids. Like, if they're above 18, they're like, well, I'm their parent. Like, okay, they're over 18. That doesn't mean anything.
Right.
They're their own person now.
Or another one with adding on to that is, well, I have godparents. I don't need they're my kids' guardians. No, unfortunately, they're not. They are maybe in the eyes of your church and
Right.
anything else, but legally they have nothing for your kids. You need to in this instance, you need to get a will to make that appointment.
Right.
Otherwise, your kids are going to sit in a court somewhere while a guardian is being determined. And that one, unfortunately, it makes me sad that that's one of the misconceptions,
Right.
because when it comes, especially having a 7-year-old, when it comes to that, I want to make sure my kid is set, that if something, God forbid, happens to me or my husband at the same time,
Right.
I know he is going to be taken care of. So that's the one that makes me the most sad. But
I can definitely understand that. Absolutely. Absolutely. I've got a couple of kids of my own, my oldest being 19, and they'll be 20 in this December. And, there are times where, as a parent, I'm like, I don't care what they do. They're an adult. Like, it's out of my hair now. It's great. And there's another part of me that's like, oh, something happened with their car. Like, I'm freaking out. Like, as a dad, like, what can I do to help?
right.
And it's like, yeah, there are things I don't have control over anymore. And luckily, they've got a partner who helps with all that, so I don't have to. Thankfully, yeah, makes things a little bit easier. I want to take a moment to we're gonna dive back into Rob here for a moment. So,
Our favorite topic.
I was going to say that.
as it should be, Rob's a great guy. We know Rob's a sports fan. Brewers fan. We've
Yep.
talked about him sponsoring some of our Brewers trips. Have you guys had a chance to tag along on any of those
Yeah,
yet?
the one
Yes.
that we went to this year, actually, me and Stacy both got hit by a ball that Rob then grabbed off of us.
And claims that he got himself. But let's be
Okay.
clear here on the radio. the ball was going to hit me
Well,
and
no,
Shannon.
okay.
Yeah.
So
It hit Shannon.
It hit me. I was going to grab it, but I was holding my hot dog, and I didn't want to sacrifice my hot dog.
Smart.
I
Very
had Dippin'
smart.
Dots that I
Yeah.
was trying
So
to protect.
it like bounced off of me and hit Stacy, and then Rob grabbed it.
And then all of a sudden I see an arm coming over me, and
There
as
was
I'm trying to
multiple-
protect,
Yeah.
I was protecting my Dippin' Dots.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's all I
I
cared
was-
about.
Yeah, I just wanted my hot dog, but
I
it's
feel
sitting
like-
in our conference room now.
It is, yes, with the picture.
With his picture.
I mean, we'll touch on that here. And you pointed out that there's a fly ball. Like, everybody goes for it.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's hit.
And that's how it was. It was like, because like Stacey's tiny, and so then it was like all these like men just like trying to grab the ball. She's like, Rob, grab the ball, grab the ball.
And I'm literally sitting, since we have a TV, and I'm literally sitting in my chair like this
Yeah.
with my Dippin' Dots because all these people are coming on top of me.
I appreciate the dedication to protecting food. Obviously, as a bigger guy, and you pay a lot for that at
I was
the
gonna say they're
ballpark.
not cheap.
Yeah.
That was
Right.
like the thing I was looking forward to most is like a stadium hot dog.
Yeah.
There you go. You can't go wrong with a ballpark hot dog. The photo, I love the photo. It's great. It's one that went up on our social medias. We brought it up on video and, and we talked about it and him holding it and being very proud. For one, now love the fact that it wasn't just a direct catch, as we had assumed.
Sorry, Rob.
Sorry, Rob.
Okay, and I love it because we're bringing ourselves closer to the end of the show here, and we're ending with some real truths out there for anybody out there listening in Radio World or watching us on Daily Dodge TV, and that's we're gonna segue that into the fact that you guys really deal in some real truths in what you guys do there at Melick Law. For anybody who hasn't got the gist, we've had a fun conversation here today, and we always have fun when Rob's on as well. Maybe a little less fun, but we have fun when Rob's on as well. But there's a lot of hard truths and a lot of real conversations that have to happen, and those conversations often have to start, at home, as people come to the realization, as they're listening, that in between the laughs and the giggles, there's important stuff to know, like. If your kids are adults, even if they're in school, in your home still, as many seniors are 18 before they graduate, once they hit 18, they could be going to a school function or something, get into an accident, something happens, and now you don't get to know anything,
Right.
That's scary, for a lot of parents, it'd be super scary. Your spouse could be on the way to work, to the grocery store, wherever, something happens to them, and now you don't get to know what's going on, also scary. Talk to your parents, talk to your loved ones. If you got parents who, even if it's like my parents are like, we're gonna spend every dime we have, and then, we're just gonna sell the house before we die and everything else. It's like, great, I'm glad you got these plans for when you think it's going to happen, but if it happens tomorrow, what does that mean?
Because you'll never know.
You'll never know. And again, scary conversations, but truthful conversations that need to happen. And then once those conversations become not a conversation anymore, but a need for action, Melick Law, they got to reach out to you guys. Remind everybody again how they get a hold of you, where they can find you guys, and how they can get the help of you and, I guess, Rob.
Sure. Our phone number is 262-347-3444. That is just our one general number for all 4 offices. It connects you to our main office in Saukville, but we've also got Beaver Dam, West Bend, and Germantown now.
Awesome. Is there a website out there people can check out?
Yes.
MelickLawWI.com.
Perfect.
Or I think now you can just Google "before you die, call this guy," and we
Yes, I
should
believe
pop
that
up.
it should pop up now.
So he's really got that slogan down then for himself.
Yeah.
Slightly morbid Rob, but I love it. And of course, when they call, chances are, Emery, you're going to be that first point of contact.
Yep.
Very friendly voice on the phone, and very friendly voices from all of you guys. You guys come across as being very nice. I understand why Rob likes working with you guys. Probably makes it less stressful that you guys aren't like, crazy neurotic paralegals, but you seem to have a lot of fun while you're there.
He
at
might
work.
debate that with me sometimes.
I mean, if nothing else, the ratio is definitely not in his favor. 3-1, Rob, you're not going to win. Any final words for anybody listening today or tuning in on the video stream?
If you are, we've said, if you're interested in learning more or anything, even just getting the information, give us a call. Or if you're out at the Washington County Fair, I'm going to do a Washington County Fair plug. We're going to be out there all week, Tuesday through Sunday. We're in the inside pavilion. So come out, and Rob will be there all week. One of us will be there majority of the week, depending on the day. And yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Sounds great.
I think that's good.
Perfect. Well, ladies, I want to thank you guys for coming on again. We've got Emery, Shannon, and Stacy here with Melick Law. And, of course, Rob Melick off today doing whatever it is Rob Melick does when he's not catching fly balls.
Yeah.
Air quotes, catching fly balls. Thank you guys again for coming in today.
Yes.
Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you for having
Thank you
us.
for having us. Yeah.
This has been a paid program. The advice and opinions expressed on the program are solely that of Melick Law, not necessarily WBEV or Good Karma Brands.